Is Cruella the best live-action Disney movie so far? That's what we're going to discuss on today's episode. Hey, it's me, AP, and welcome to another edition of the Saturday Movie Show, the show where we discuss everything related to movies. And today we've got a hot topic, a really hot topic. Maybe it's not that hot. It's not that hot, but it's kind of hot. The movies came out this week. Cruella, that will be the headline story for today, discussing whether Cruella is a good movie, whether it is one of the best live-action Disney movies. Sure, there's been a lot of them now out over the past couple of years, so there's plenty of comparisons to compare them to these movies, so I'm really looking forward to that. But anyway, before we get into the headline story of today's show, we're going to drop on by to some not-so-worthy blockbuster housekeeping. You know the drill, it's just I talk about what's going on with the channel, within the community here, discuss a few little ins and outs, a few little minor details of what's going on this week and what I've been up to. Great week of weather, great week of British weather over here. I don't know where it's been like over the rest of the world, rest of the UK, but here in northern England, we've had some fantastic weather this past week. It's a beautiful, beautiful day today again. But anyway, housekeeping for this week, not so worthy blockbuster housekeeping. Latest video this week. Put out a new video on the channel on Thursday. We've got new channels out every week on this channel. We've got videos come out on Thursdays, the regular videos, and then we have the Monday videos, which are just usually short snippets of little small clips, tidbits of previous videos, just so people can just digest little small amounts of the content. And then we have the Saturday movie show every Saturday on the channel as well, which is cool. But on Thursday's video this week, I went into the topic of TV shows that need physical media releases, because there's an absolute ton of them. And it's one of these videos when I was making it and when I was putting it together, because like I said, I shoot 4 videos a pop, do four weeks worth, film them all in one day, edit them in another day. And I've got it down to the T now. Do you know, I'm great with editing them, great with recording them. I wouldn't say I'm the best editor in the world, but I mean, just for getting a video out, I can do it pretty good now, in my opinion. Not to blow my own trumpet, but yeah, the basic videos. I don't really do editing as such. It's literally, when I say editing, I mean just it's the intro, the video, the end titles. There's no heavy editing with my videos, so for what it is, for the basic template of my videos, I've got them down to a T. But yeah, I do 4 weeks worth of videos, but this week's video was TV shows that need physical media releases, and it was one of those where before filming it, I felt like this is going to be an interesting topic. I know the community here on this channel and the physical media community out there will really hopefully get involved with this topic, and straight away I just knew that it was a video what people were enjoying, and people were engaging with the video and asking questions and giving their opinions, which is awesome. It's great to hear within the community, you know, more people's ideas of like TV shows and movies that need physical media releases, because I like my physical media. I'm not a hoarder. I don't have a massive collection. It's mainly what you see behind me here, and then I have like a little small case. You can see that on one of my how I store my DVD collection video. But it's a small collection, but I like physical media. It's really good, and it's been cool just to see what other people's thoughts are though on that video. And like, I give like 6 shows what I feel that need a physical media release, and they've not had it yet. One notable, I suppose 2 notable ones are like The Mandalorian has not had one yet, and we're 2 seasons in. Go check out the video if you're not seeing it yet as well. It's really well worth checking out that video. If you've not watched it yet, go and check it out. But yeah, Mandalorian, I think it is a big one on Disney Plus currently. Another one is Comic Book Men. I discussed this in the video. Comic Book Men is like it's like one of these shows, these pawn shop type shows. People go into this comic book shop, the Secret Stash, and I really enjoy that show. It's never had a physical media release, which is really disappointing. And honestly, it's just like I was putting that video together, and then this past week again, just looking at the comments and thinking about that video again. And I really like Comic Book Men's the one I would really like to see as a physical media release. It's probably out of all those now, I think Mandalorian and comic book men. I suppose I again I always change my mind on these things. One day I want one thing I want another thing. But I think comic book men would be really cool to see. As I'm a big fan of the podcast, Tell 'em Steve Dave, what kind of inspired comic book men as a show. It's a show that's like Kevin Smith's comic book shop. But that anyway, I'm going off on a rambling mission here. But that was definitely one of them shows that I would love to see on physical media releases. But check out that video. Again, a super engaging video, and it was cool as well to see a few comments on it. I think it was John in the comments there on that video. A gentleman called John or a lady called John, I don't know. He or she, I imagine it's he, being John. John said he has like a Mandalorian and WandaVision on DVD or on Blu-ray. I think it was John anyway. I do apologize if it wasn't. But obviously these both of these ones have not been released on Blu-ray, and I knew what John was getting to straight away. He's obviously went on eBay and got like a DIY copy, and where someone has put together their own compilation of like season 1 of Mandalorian, season 2. And they've released it because Disney are not releasing it. It's not been released as of yet. And I can understand why John would buy that. Because I suppose after hearing John's comment, I was like, I knew before that comment that this existed, this world where people were selling essentially bootleg copies online of these on eBay and other such sites. So it's nothing new. Do you know what I mean? It's something that I'm well aware of. But I just... Like I suppose I just didn't think to like look online, and I was looking online then. I was looking for Comic Book Men, see if we could find a Comic Book Men copy. There was no copy of Comic Book Men. Seriously, if someone no, I don't want anyone to hit me up. I don't want to be hit up with Comic Book Men bootleg DVDs or Blu-rays. Wink. No, I'm joking. But anyway, it was just it was cool. It was interesting to see that does go on eBay, and like I imagine like Amazon's probably similar. I don't know what the law. I don't. Does Disney strike these down if they see these copies on eBay, or is it like sort of like when you get T-shirts of trademarked logos? There's just too many of them to keep count of. But I think if people, what I'm trying to get at here is if people want to get them copies and physical media copies, and they can't get them by legal means, and they can't have a physical media copy because they've not been released by the company. I can really understand. I can understand why people would buy them copies on eBay, and it's not me. That's not me condoning it, but I can understand why, and I can understand that people just want to have that in their collection, and that is something I can really relate to. You know, you've got a Star Wars collection. You want to have the Mandalorian in there. You want to have all the series of the Clone Wars in there. And if these have not all been released, and you are one of those people who wants to have some form of, you know, a resemblance, a property in your collection that signifies that particular movie or TV show, and it's not been released, that's the way you've got to go, I suppose. So I understand why people do it, and you know, everyone's each to their own, isn't it? With physical media, whatever you like, and that's cool by me. If you wouldn't do that, that's cool, and I totally understand it. And honestly, I could be tempted to do that eventually as well if some of these releases do not go to have a proper release, and that would be a shame. But anyway, other things going on with the channel recently. This week anyway, I've been working on some new titles, like a title sequence for all the videos. I don't know if it's going to be specifically for the Saturday movie show or just all the videos in general as of yet. It's something I'm working on. I kind of don't want to like show it off or put it in the videos just yet. I think with these things, what I want to do is first I want to get a few more little tweaks, like I've mentioned it a few times, like little theme songs and little jingles throughout the show for the different sections of the show, like the Not So Worthy blockbuster housekeeping section, and like movies of the weekend, few of them other sections. Get some little jingles, 5 to 10 second jingles going on as well, and maybe just debut them all on one show, one fresh episode of the Saturday Movie Show, where we just go all in with the new jingles and the new entrance music and entrance titles as well. But it's been cool just working on just doing that this week. Sometimes, I make a list, I'll make a daily list, and that list will change. And it was the other day I was working on something else, and I just didn't have the motivation for what I was doing. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to try. Sometimes I like to open up Photoshop and open up like a video editor and just playing around with stuff. And that was what I did. And I come up with these new titles, and it just come out of nowhere. But I had this idea for a while. So it didn't come out of nowhere. It come out of somewhere in the head. But it was fun just to put together something fresh, and it's going to be cool. I even thought maybe, like I said, debut 2 at the time, 2 of these new little features, or maybe do it when we get another great thing. We passed 400 subscribers on the channel. I'm getting tongue twisted here. 400 subscribers on the channel this past week, which is awesome. Thank you very much to everyone out there for subscribing, for checking out all the videos, liking all the videos as always, and commenting and engaging in this community. It is so cool to have you all involved on this ride. But yeah, that was a nice sort of like a sort of point in YouTube, because I know it took the channel for ages to get to 100, and it felt like an eternity for years. But I suppose now, having that consistency on this topic of movies, it's working better for the channel. More people are getting in regular conversations here, which is great, and it's really good. So I will be debuting some of them new features along the line. But I just wanted to let you know that there is improvements going on behind the scenes. I'm not just sitting on my backside picking my nose. I do that some days, but other days I am working on new content and new ways to make this better for everyone watching as well. But anyway, let's head on to the headline topic of today's show. So, Cruella, the prequel movie of... They're saying it's a prequel. It's sort of like the origin story of Cruella de Vil. The main villain in the 101 Dalmatians movie. The original animated Disney Classics movie was 1961, I believe. That's so long ago. Really long. I can't believe it was like 1960s. It's crazy. The animation is just sublime. It's unreal. Obviously, animation has changed a lot since the 101 Dalmatians style of animation, like 2D drawn animation, I believe. A lot has changed, and this is an origin story, as I said, for the villain Cruella, telling her origin of how she really becomes Cruella de Vil. And it stars Emma Stone as the main character, Cruella de Vil, or Estella, she's also called within this movie. I will also, before I get too deep into this topic, there will be spoilers ahead for the movie Cruella. If you've not seen that movie as of yet, I don't want to spoil it for you. So it's a 5-second countdown for spoilers ahead. So it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoilers for Cruella from this point forward. You have been pre-warned. But Emma Stone, she stars as Cruella, and Estella. You have Emma Thompson as the Baroness in it. Mark Strong, I didn't even know Mark Strong was in this. He's in it, and there's a few other faces that I noted that I noticed throughout this film. But what did I think, first of all? The story, I felt like it was I really enjoyed the film. I enjoyed the watch. For me, the trailers, first of all, I didn't see the actual full trailer for the movie, but I'd seen a few adverts on like advertising Disney Plus. This was a Disney Plus premium release, and it was to the cinemas as well. So I'd seen like a few over the past week, like the adverts for Cruella. And I gotta be honest, the adverts just didn't really do it justice for me. I was really not intrigued to see this movie. I thought, this looks really... I don't really know what it's about. I know Cruella de Vil, she was the villain in 101 Dalmatians, but what's this story in? So like, it's the origin of the film. Is it like a Joker movie? Is this Joker's origin, but it's Cruella de Vil's origin? So I didn't really know what I was gonna be watching. Someone mentioned it to me earlier on the week though that it was a really good movie. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna check it out. Go off a recommendation. So I checked out Cruella and I watched it. I watched it this morning, and I really enjoyed the movie. There was definitely a few points where I was a bit lost, but after the points where I was lost in the plot, it sort of like things got better. I felt like there was like to go deep dive into the movie. Basically, it's an origin story of Estella, and she becomes Cruella de Vil. Her mum dies at the start of the movie. She is thrown off a cliff, or you don't really know why she goes off this cliff. Cruella blames herself until it's, we find out it's this Baroness character who killed her by sending her dog to three Dalmatians with a whistle and shooting her Estelle's mother off the cliff. It turns out a big turn of events at the end of the story. Her mother, who she believed was her mother originally, is actually not her mother, and the Baroness is actually Cruella's mother. And then we have a lot in between of it where it's all in this fashion world. So the Baroness is this fashion fashion house leader. She is a designer, head designer. Everyone looks up to her. She's like the top brass of fashion designers. Cruella goes to work for her after being spotted by some of her designs at this sort of shopping precinct. She goes to work for her as like an apprentice. She realizes that Cruella's got potential as a fashion designer. Again, it's very, very bizarre. I know a lot of it in the other incarnations of 100 Dalmatians, it does feature that she is like a fashion designer. But it's a really interesting plot. We see her build up, and then we see her first to the Baroness character. She is always Estella in this movie, Estelle. And it's only till she starts pretending to be this character, Cruella. She has like the black and white hair. She starts wearing wigs in her normal life then. And she gets more fame as this Cruella character. And she starts doing these big fashion sort of examples to the public. It's kind of like Banksy, when Banksy does an expedition over here, like an art expedition. It reminds me a lot of that, where you see like these fashion people do these big like artsy fashion expeditions, and it's set in like the 70s London as well. And then you've got Cruella, who again, it's like an alter ego. It's like Cruella's the superhero of the story, and her like normal person alter ego is Estelle. The Baroness knows Estelle, who she employs, but she doesn't know Estelle is Cruella. It's kind of a bit confusing, and then you're like looking at it and you're like, how does she not know it's not Estelle? She must know, and I think by the end of it she does realise, and obviously there's big reveals, but she finds out that the Baroness killed her mother throughout the story, and then she finds out she's actually a mother, but she goes on this sort of like mission to destroy the Baroness and destroy her business and destroy her as a fashion designer as well. So she's like this rising fashion designer, getting all this good press. I liked it. I liked the movie. I did feel like I said, I got lost with the plot at some point during the movie where I was like, what is the actual plot here? When it was sort of, I think when it was, before it was revealed that she was actually her mother, I was kind of like, what's the plot? Because the initial plot was like she had to get this necklace that she dropped as a kid before at the Baroness's house, and then she was like, she'd become an orphan. She was brought up with these two other guys, like on the streets on her own. But she dropped this necklace which a mother gave to her before a mother died. A mother, not a real mother, a mother who brought her up though. And the sort of like the story, the narrative at first is to find this, this necklace, and then once she finds the necklace, it turns out this necklace is actually a key, and Mark Strong's character is like the butler for the Baroness character. He reveals it's a key, and he gave away the child as a baby because the Baroness didn't want to keep her, the baby, Cruella, and she gave her to one of the housemaids, and this turned out to be the one who brought her up, and she's the one who was killed by the Baroness over the cliff by the Dalmatians. It's very confusing if you're not watching the movie, but the plot was all about this necklace at first, and then once she found the necklace, I was just a bit confused then. But I suppose the confusion sort of like after a few moments of confusion after it was I suppose halfway through the movie, after the necklace was found, then the real point of the story, the real point of the plot sort of came to be, were, the reveal that the Baroness, Emma Thompson's character, the Baroness is her mother, and the story then is like to destroy her as a person, and it's not to kill her, it's just to destroy her publicly and make her to be shown as the villain she truly is. And that's when I got the plot. But I did feel like there was a couple of moments, like a drop in the middle of the movie, where I was like, I don't know what the plot's going to be now, because they found the main necklace. Where do we go from here? But apart from that, that was like the only part of the movie I was just like a bit, just like questioning like what's going on here. I don't know where I'm up to now with this movie. Where's it going? Because I noticed it was like a 2 hour movie. I was like, wow, there's something else going to happen here. And I knew just by looking at the time, I knew there was going to be something else happening here. But yeah, I really like this movie. I love the music. The music is, look, music can make a good movie even better. And this movie had a score, really nice score. I'm not too sure who did the score for this movie, but the score was very, very good. I liked the music. I thought it gelled well with the characters. But it had an increasingly high amount of just like actual songs in this, and a lot of songs from like the 60s, the 70s, all thrown in there. A lot of soul in there. It was really good. A lot of like 60s music, like Rolling Stones. The soundtrack was amazing, and it really fitted the character. We had this described, and I've heard this a lot, where it's like it's a very punkish movie. It's like Cruella is like a punk in this, and I can sort of get that, but I suppose that was one of them things where what I heard previously. This is where it made me a bit confused to what sort of movie I was going to get. I heard it's going to be like this punkish designer fashion movie. And it sort of is that a bit, but I wouldn't say it's like a punk movie. I don't think Cruella is a punk really per se. Maybe some people would say she is a punk. I don't think she is. I think she is a really smart woman. She is, for the first part of the movie, to me she isn't Cruella de Vil. She isn't the villain, and for most of this movie, she's the good person in this movie. She does have bad moments. She definitely has a trail of evil beneath her at times, but she's not really the bad character. The Baroness is the villain of the movie. To me, my memories of like the old Dalmatians like cartoon animation, the Baroness is very more reminiscent of what Cruella is in that to the actual Cruella. And I suppose near the end of the movie, when you see like the black and white hair, you see more of a villainous Cruella de Vil character. You do see more of that one from the Dalmatians movie, but she's the good character from this. It's very reminiscent of the Joker movie, where Joker he's a good guy and he's a bad guy. He's kind of like a tweener. You don't know which way he's gonna go, and it did feel like there was a lot of very comparable moments to that movie. And but I liked it. I liked the telling of this Cruella character, because it wasn't a character that interested me prior to watching this. I never thought to myself, I wonder how Cruella de Vil became to be. How did Cruella de Vil become the 101 Dalmatians villain that she is? I never thought of that. And when I initially heard of this a few years ago being shot, I was like, oh, that's just going to be boring. Who wants to see a Cruella de Vil movie? What even is a Cruella de Vil movie? And it's not like, I wouldn't say it's anything. It's not like a Devil Wears Prada. If you're thinking, when you hear fashion movies, I suppose you always think Devil Wears Prada. I don't think it's a Devil Wears Prada movie. This isn't very similar to that. And maybe you could say the relationship is similar. I don't think it is personally. I don't think, maybe there's a similar relationship between the two main characters in the fashion house, but I don't think it's comparable to the Devil Wears Prada, other than that it's in the world, set in the world of fashion. I think it's got its own story. It's a very much very sort of like a cartoony story in a way. The evil mother to be revealed, the origin story of this girl who is an orphan, but she then becomes this high-ranking public figure, but she's got like this villainous streak beneath her. So it is a very, very cartoonish, comic booky sort of style of writing, storytelling, which I like, and I really enjoyed it. I thought the casting was very interesting. First of all, like I said, Mark Strong, he's in it. I didn't even know he was in this movie until watching it. Emma Thompson as the main villain, as the Baroness, she was great in this. Emma Thompson, I really enjoyed her as the villain. I thought she was fantastic as the Baroness. Really, because I always look at Emma Thompson. I think she's like a nanny. She played Nanny McPhee. I think she did. But I always look at her and I feel like she's just like a nice character, a nice person, a nice actor, and she played the role of the movie's big bad in this perfectly. I really enjoyed her performance in this. And Emma Stone, I like Emma Stone, but I wouldn't say. I suppose I've not watched that many Emma Stone movies. I remember watching recently, what was it? Superbad. Superbad, great comedy. Emma Stone in. She was in the Spider-Man movies. The Spider-Man movies, what I wasn't massive on, The Amazing Spider-Man, when she played Gwen Stacy. Other than that, I've seen Zombieland, but I've never really seen that many Emma Stone movies. So for me, I'm watching this, and I'm like, I'm not really up to date on what her performances are like, and she was really good as Cruella. She was good as well. The fact that she was playing two roles. She was playing Estelle, who was like this good person character, and then she was playing this rebel character of Cruella de Vil, who's this making all these big fashion statements, big expeditions. It was really good the way she played them dual roles, and then in the end it sort of like combines the two into the one. I really enjoyed it, and overall, like I said, this was a really, really good movie. I'm never going to discuss movies that I don't enjoy, unless I'm making a comparison for a productive stance, but this is a movie I enjoyed. I thought it was really good. I thought, again, it was, I believe it was made by the director who done I, Tonya. I've not seen that movie, but I've heard good things about that as well. This was a great movie, a great live-action adaptation. Was it the best? I mean, that's what we're going to discuss a bit later on in the show today, but it was definitely one of my most enjoyable ones I've watched over the past couple of years. I really enjoyed it, and I would recommend, if you can get to a cinema or you want to watch it at home, definitely check out Cruella. It is well worth the watch. Anyway, let's see, how does it compare anyway? That's what I want to compare. How does it compare to the original animated classic, 101 Dalmatians, and how does it compare to the other adaptations of this property? Other adaptations, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the Glenn Close 101 Dalmatians live-action movie by Disney as well, and the 102 sequel Dalmatians, 102 Dalmatians, starring Glenn Close as Cruella de Vil as well. I enjoyed the first the first 101 Dalmatians live-action movie. I like that movie. I've got it on DVD upstairs. I'm gonna have to watch that back. I've not watched it in quite some time, but I really enjoyed that as a kid. It's the second one, the sequel, I didn't think was as good. I always felt the first one was much better, but maybe it's worth revisiting them two movies. But the first one was these movies. I suppose filmmaking has moved forward, and for me to make a comparison is maybe a bit harsh, because I think the origin story and the telling of the Cruella movie is really good. I think it's a great origin story for like an unknown character to most, and they really made that character seem very, you wanted to find out more about her. And for me, that's why the Cruella movie is definitely better than 101 Dalmatians. Just for the fact it made this sort of like unknown character who I'm not aware of, made her likable and made me interested in this movie. 101 Dalmatians, it was the property. It was a famous remake of a classic Disney movie. But I'm definitely going to have to revisit that. I think Cruella is definitely better than 101 Dalmatians, the live action. I was never a fan of the original animated movie though. I liked bits of it as a kid, but I suppose it wasn't my favourite Disney movie. It's just not one. I suppose it's just not one I would watch. I mean, to say I'm not a fan is, I don't know how I can say this really. I suppose it's just not one I watched a lot as a kid. For me, the Disney movies I would watch as a kid, it would be Lion King would be the main one. Lion King, I suppose Jungle Book was definitely up there. What else would I say? Even like Aladdin wasn't one I would watch as a kid. I only recently watched Aladdin as an adult. So Aladdin was never one I watched as a kid. I did watch, I had them all on VHS, so I did watch them. I suppose it was like third ranking in the Disney movies. I'm trying to think of the other Disney movies. Yeah, so it was probably Lion King, then Jungle Book, maybe it must have been above Pinocchio and Dumbo. So it's probably like third ranking, and then I sort of like, then I have like I say Disney, but I know the Disney Pixar, but the Toy Story movies then sort of like go into that. But it wasn't a main one I would watch as a kid. I think, what was the one with it? Fox and the Hound. That was one I would watch. I used to love that Fox and the Hound. That was a That was a Disney movie I really enjoyed. But yeah, it was okay, but I suppose I don't have that sort of that love for the original animated classic movie. It's just not personally for me something I liked. So again, Cruella wins through for me if I'm comparing it to both of those. Maybe you feel different about that. Let me know your thoughts on that. Whether you think, if you prefer the other incarnations of this character and this story of the 101 Dalmatians book. But yeah, it was. Look, I'm not taking a dump on any of these movies. I'm just saying that now in advance. in afterwards, I don't dislike any of these movies. I just it's subjective, isn't it, with movie? We like what we like, and I never like. There's not that many movies I dislike to the point where I say, "Oh, this is awful. This is awful." There's only so many movies I can think of like that. It's just certain movies I just don't want to watch, and if you give me a choice of so many movies, say you give me a desert island. You give me a desert island, and you don't give me a desert island. You can give me a desert island if you want, but no one's going to give me a desert island. Maybe Richard Branson, he might give me one. I'll write him a letter. But you put me on a desert island, and you say you've got a choice of some movies, and it is a pick of 101 Dalmatians movies. You get to pick one. Cruella is the one out of these ones that I would pick, and that's the way I sort of put it with these. It's not that I want to get a shovel, take a dump, or bury a hole, make a hole, throw them DVDs in, take a dump, bury it. I don't want to do that on these movies, but it's just I don't want to take them on the island with me. That's all I want to say. Anyway, let's move forward. This is yeah. You don't want to hear me talking about that anymore. About dumps. Let's move forward. Let's move the story. Let's move the show forward. Anyway, is it the best live action? Let's get to one of the head sort of topics of today's episode. So, is Cruella the best live action Disney movie so far? And I suppose the ones I want to compare it to are the most notable ones, really. And we've got Beauty and the Beast. We've had over the past couple of years. We've had all these remakes of recent of the old Disney classic movies. We have Lion King. We've had The Jungle Book. And now we've had Cruella. And I know Cruella is more of a prequel rather than a remake of 101 Dalmatians. But I'm kind of putting that one in the same sort of, bowl as the other ones. And where do I rank it? And what do I think it is one of the best Disney movies over the past, in recent times, out of those four movies? The Lion King wasn't one. Lion King, the animated classic, I adore. I love that movie. And I was so excited to see the Lion King remake. I thought, oh, this is going to be cool. Because before that, I'd seen the Jungle Book. And the Jungle Book, I liked the animated movie. And I watched the Jungle Book movie, and I thought that was amazing. I thought it was brilliant. I loved they changed it from the original, and I thought they changed it for the better. I really enjoyed the story of Jungle Book. The music was great. All the tracks in that movie are fantastic, and just the story as a whole, everything was just perfect for me. And I thought, oh, Lion King's going to be... It's got Jon Favreau again. This is going to be great. I like Jon Favreau. I like the Jungle Book, which he directed prior to that. So I go into the Lion King, and it just didn't feel... There's just a connection with me that wasn't there. I was watching this, and I think maybe a lot of people felt that. It's where you've got these lions sort of going around. I know they don't really dance that much in the movie, but they're going around singing, and it just didn't feel... I don't know, there was a lost connection there, wasn't there? I felt that. I think a lot of people... a few people I've spoken to have said the same, where there was a certain connection that wasn't there when watching The Lion King. So that wasn't a great movie for me. I probably wouldn't go out my way to watch The Lion King remake again. I'd rather watch the animated classic. Beauty and the Beast, I've watched parts of Beauty and the Beast. What I've seen of Beauty and the Beast, I would definitely say it's better than The Lion King. It's not up there with Jungle Book. I mean... Only for the reason I'm just not a big fan of Beauty and the Beast. It was one I would watch as a kid, but it just wasn't one of my favourite Disney movies. But Cruella is, again, it's an origin story of Cruella, the character, the villain. And I think it is much better than The Lion King. I would say it's better for me personally than the Beauty and the Beast movie. I think it's kind of like up there with Jungle Book. Maybe I think Jungle Book probably still takes the top spot, but Cruella is definitely just underneath because it's a movie I enjoyed. Like I said, the music, the story, the characters, the acting, it was all there, and it was just maybe just because I loved the music so much from Jungle Book, and I just thought it was mesmerizing the way the animals in that, how realistic it looked, was just phenomenal to me. So that was the only probably reason why it wins through slightly, but it is very, very close between them two. So I think it is definitely one of the best Disney live action movies they put out in recent times. It was a really, really good watch. But are we going to get a sequel? Are we going to get a sequel anyway to Cruella de Vil or Cruella? So will Cruella get a sequel or another prequel? So I believe it's doing well. I think it had a budget around 100 million and it's made about 50 million so far at the box office. So it's doing okay, considering at this point in the world where we are with the pandemic currently in the world. I think, I'm sure, I've read like a few things online where Emma Thompson and Emma Stone, I think they're contracted for a second movie. They've said they want to come back for a second movie. I would like to see a sequel. I think the sequel, if it happens, I mean, you could go two ways, really. You could do another story of the Baroness versus Cruella, or you could move on to making the 101 Dalmatians story, because there is a teaser at the end. I think it's in the end credits, actually, where we see Roger, the character, he's a minor character within the movie, and Anita, darling. They both get dogs delivered to the houses, and then we see Roger, who is a failed musician, or sort of like he's known to be that in the story. That's the way the Baroness describes him, and he's playing the Cruella de Vil song from the original 101 Dalmatians movie, which is cool, on piano. And he gets a delivery. They both get a dog each, a Dalmatian dog, delivered to their houses, and he said it's Pongo, and then it's the female dog. I can't remember the female's dog's name. But obviously there's a tease for what's to come, and what's to come, you would imagine it is 101 Dalmatians. I think having a story, having that tagline, the title, 101 Dalmatians, is probably a bit more appeasing to a lot of people. People would like to see that, I imagine, more than hearing of a Cruella story, because for me, like I said, I don't know what a Cruella story is. If I see 101 Dalmatians, I kind of know what the story's going to be, more so. So I think it's going to pull more audiences in if they bring that story with this cast. So I hope that happens. I hope they do give a sequel to this movie, because I really enjoyed it. I was one of them watches. You get certain watches over time, and I suppose because it was we got Emma Stone, who is an American actor, but she was playing a British character. It's set in Britain. It had a similar feel to the setting of Hook to me, this movie. It had that similar, like, old British feel to it. Old British London, and it was just really, I like that world. I like the world, that old Britain, old London world, that was the setting of this movie. So I'd love to see an expansion of this, and I'd love to see more stories within this, and I'd love to see a sequel, to see where this story goes and see the build of these characters, because it was nice. I felt it was like a really nice build within this story. Very subtle build for Anita and Roger, them characters, but there was still a build there, and then you can build upon that in a sequel. There was a huge, great, good story arc of Estelle to Cruella. You have the Baroness still in there. She's not dead. She's been arrested by the police, but she's still in there. You've got Jasper and Horace, the two henchmen for Cruella as well, who are our friends as well. There's loads of different story threads in here, and that's what I like. You've got Mark Strong's character as well. There's a lot in here, and there's more to build on, and I think there's room for a sequel. If we get it, that's another question, but I hope we do get the sequel eventually. So anyway, let's move the show forward more so, and let's move away from the topic of Cruella, today's headline topic, but let's move on to what have I been watching this week. And I've been watching a few different things over the past week or so. I can't remember I mentioned it last week, but I've been going over the old Toy Story movies again, rewatching those. I really enjoyed the Toy Story movies. They are so good. I've watched 2 and 3 this week, and they are amazing. I enjoyed Toy Story 4 as well when I watched it. And I've only watched it once, but I really liked that movie. But they are so great movies. The storytelling of an animated movie, I think you forget how good they are. And Toy Story 2 wasn't one I really enjoyed much as a kid. But I rewatched it and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it as an adult. It was a very fun movie, very entertaining. I think why I didn't like it as a kid, there was a few characters I didn't enjoy. Jessie, the cowgirl character, and the Prospector character. I didn't like either of those characters. I know you're not meant to like Prospector because he's the villain, but Jessie, I wasn't massively keen on that character, and I suppose it spoiled the movie for me because I just didn't gel with them characters. But watching it back now, I can't really understand. I can see maybe a bit with Jessie. Sometimes she's a bit too over the top, but all in all, watching that movie back, it's just a really really fun movie to watch. Great movie. And it's cool as well. You've got the Owl's toy barn, the Owl's toy barn guy it's Newman out of thingy Seinfeld, isn't it? You know, so I've been watching Seinfeld recently, and I hear Owl's character, and I'm like, that's Newman. And obviously, I know that actor from Jurassic Park as well, but I never as a kid would have known that was his voice. It was cool just listening back. I'm like, oh yeah, because I've recently watched Seinfeld. I'm like, wow, that's him. But it was a really good movie. I've really enjoyed watching that back. Another movie I watched this week was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. That is one I've watched. Well, I watched it as a kid a few times, but I couldn't remember anything from it. I suppose I could remember certain things, you know, in the garden and stuff like that. But I watched that part this week, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it definitely more than Harry and the Hendersons, what I watched last week. Another like 80s, 90s movie. It was a lot more fun for me. I felt like, you know, it was. You look at like movies like Ant-Man now, and you can see where some of the inspiration come from, and it definitely came from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It was a really, really fun movie, and I want to do a deep dive into that one day, and maybe on like one of the bonus podcasts we do on Patreon or something, like a coffee movie broadcast. Deep dive into Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It's a brilliant movie, just a comedy family movie. I believe it's on Disney Plus as well, so you can definitely check out if you're on streaming if you don't have the physical copy of that, but it's well worth it. I've been watching this morning as well as watching Cruella. I've been watching Kelly's Heroes. I really love Kelly's Heroes. Clint Eastwood movie. It's set in World War II, but it's not really a war. I wouldn't say it's like a war movie. It's a heist movie. But such a perfect movie. It's a perfect movie. One I've only watched over the past maybe like within the last like 5 years. I watched it for the first time, and yeah, it's a great movie. I think my dad got me onto that. It was a really good movie. But they're the movies I've been watching this week as well. I was watching Cruella this morning. All good movies. Definitely check them all out. They're all worth checking out. Anyway, let's move on to another section in the show. Movies for the weekend. Movies for the weekend. The section of the show where I recommend some movies for you to watch this weekend while you got some time in your hands. Grab a DVD or go on streaming. Check out a movie. So, I've got 3 movies to discuss on today's show. First of all, I mentioned it in the show, but Jungle Book. Jungle Book, the animated classic, the original animation movie, got on DVD here. Well worth checking out. If you've never seen Jungle Book, it's just full of great songs, great humour, light-hearted. It's for all the family. Well worth checking out, Jungle Book. Talking about Cruella and Emma Stone, who is the star of Cruella. Another performance I really enjoy. I said I've not really watched that much of Emma Stone's stuff in the past, but Superbad is a movie I have watched, and it's a movie I really enjoy. Super funny movie. You got Mick Lovin in it. That's brilliant. But Emma Stone's in this, and it's weird to see her in this, and then you look at her as Cruella. It's like, whoa, she seems like she's had a good career. She's doing big Disney movies. She seems like she's doing really well. This was something at least 10 years ago now. This is probably like 10, 15 years ago as well. Great movie, really funny movie. And I was talking about it before in the show, you know, talking about that old classic style of London and that world I really enjoy. And Hook, again, Hook is, I mentioned it, Hook is the one what I feel like Cruella has definitely taken some inspiration from looking at Hook. I'm sure the filmmakers have looked at Hook and thought, we're going to dip our toe in and take a bit of that, because that, again, it's a Disney classic movie, a spin-off, similar sort of thing, really. I suppose Hook. It's like it's not the origin of Peter Pan. It's like an after origin, but whereas like Cruella is an origin story. But I feel like they've looked at this movie and said, we want to go for some of the styles that are featured within Hook of the old school, old style of London. It's really cool. Hook is a brilliant movie. I really like Hook. It's a fantastic. Robin Williams, Dustin Hoffman, Julie Roberts, Bob Hoskins. Classic movie. John Williams does the music. It is absolutely phenomenal. Steven Spielberg is the director as well. You can't go wrong with Hook if you've never watched Hook. Check out all these movies this weekend if you've got some time in your hands, and let me know some of your movies for this weekend as well. What are you going to be watching this weekend? This jolly good sunny weekend in the UK or wherever you are in the world. But anyway, that is today's show over and done with. If you enjoyed the show, please do give it a like and check out the rest of my movie-related content as well. We got lots out there for you to watch when it comes down to physical media, movie lists, movie-related topics. There's tons of stuff out there for us all to enjoy on the channel now, and tons of engagement to get involved with as well. You want to get involved with conversations with myself, with other people, just get in the comments, start commenting, and get yourself involved with the community here. It's awesome. Let me know what your thoughts are on today's show. Let me know, did you enjoy it? Thank you very much for watching today's show. It's been quite a long one, I think. We're getting on nearly onto 50 minutes, I think, around that mark anyway. It's been a great show, and it's been cool to look at a movie that I initially probably wouldn't have even thought about watching. It was just sort of like one of those things where I thought, I'm going to give it a try, this movie, Cruella, and I really did enjoy it. And it's been cool to just discuss it on today's show for the period today. It's been great to deep dive into it and to sort of split it up and discuss certain parts of the movie, and to really, to see this character again. I don't want to like go over it again, but to see this character that I was not at all interested in a week ago, to then watching this movie and being like, yeah, this is a character I really like. I think that's good. I think that's good filmmaking, and I think it's really good. Let me know your thoughts on it. Did you like Cruella? Was it a good movie for you? Did you enjoy it? Did you not like it? Let me know your thoughts. Where do you think it compares, though, to other live-action Disney movies? Is it the best live-action Disney movie so far? Let me know your thoughts. Leave your comments below. Let's start a conversation on this topic. I want to know your thoughts on this topic, ladies and gents. Let me know what you think about all the topics discussed on today's show as well. And I hope you all have a great weekend. And as always, I will see you all next time.